together on a few things for the past couple of years, and you're with
Utah State Office of Rehabilitation.
Okay, so just go USOR.
Yeah,
Utah State Office of
and
Rehabilitation.
then I will introduce my position because it's just too much for you.
It is. Yeah, it is. Sucks. Okay, so you guys go ahead.
Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Just give it a second. So thanks for tuning in to Top People. I'm Jordan Jones. We are live from the Mass Mutual office here in Salt Lake City. One of the best parts of my job is, as a financial advisor, is I get to work with amazing people. And Leah has definitely been one of those people that I've been fortunate enough to work with over the last few years. And she works with the Utah State Office of Rehabilitation. And give us, you have a long title, too much for me to remember. So why don't you give us what you're doing and introduce yourself, and we'll just have a conversation on some upcoming events and looking out, through this year and into 2017, and how people can help support your cause and USOR and everything that's going on.
Great. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate you allowing me to come in and talk today.
Yeah.
So as you mentioned, I work for the Utah State Office of Rehabilitation, and what we do at USOR is help individuals with disabilities to obtain and retain employment. So my position is very specific. I work with the Governor's Committee on Employment of People with Disabilities as the director, and I also direct our business relations group. So what that means is I work directly with business partners to help them understand how to hire and retain people with disabilities. So it's a lot of outreach, reaching out to the community, talking to business partners about their questions about disability and employment issues, or how to serve disabled customers. And one thing about me is I don't offend easily. I want people to ask me the tough questions that they have about disability and employment, and maybe even if they have a disability, how that might affect their employment or what accommodations might be out there to support them.
So if a company wants to hire somebody with a disability or wants to be accommodating to that, you're somebody that they can reach out to.
Definitely. So we have what's called the People with Disabilities Network within the Utah State Office of Rehabilitation, and that network is a network of business partners who've met with me, or the business relations team with Tom Smith, Sharon Cook, Chad Spencer have all worked with me, or our Choose to Work team between the Department of Workforce Services and Vocational Rehabilitation. And if you meet with us and get some basic information and know where to go for supports if you have questions, you become part of our People with Disabilities Network. And within that network, we're able to help you post positions, we're able to help you find qualified candidates, we're able to answer any of your questions about disability and employment. And for federal contractors, have a new regulation right now that's come out in 2014 to hire and retain about 7% of their workforce as people with disabilities. Wow. So for federal contractors, they're looking at how do we start doing this outreach, and how do we start asking the questions about disabilities of our current workforce.
So what would you say to an employer that hasn't ever hired anybody with a disability, is open to the idea? I think that's pretty common in the workplaces. How would we know if we can, if somebody with a disability can work for our company? What would you say to an employer like that?
The first thing I would say is that 1 in 5 Americans has a disability, and a lot of disabilities are hidden. So you probably already have people in your workforce that have disabilities, and maybe have chosen not to disclose that.
Yeah.
The next thing I would say is let's talk about what positions you have. Let's talk about the types of jobs that are available, and then start discussing the skill set of people with disabilities. Disabilities is very broad. You have individuals who may have a very visible disability, and you might look at them and obviously know that they have a disability. Or you might have people who have very hidden disabilities, like brain injuries or mental health issues or lupus or chronic conditions, and you might not know that they have a disability. We have individuals who are on the spectrum of disability that may do entry-level work their entire life, and that's just the types of jobs they're going to be able to do, to people who are highly trained professionals with degrees and doctors and whatever else. It really is a spectrum. So when a business asks those questions about, I don't think we've ever done this before, or how do we move forward with this, it's a conversation. And every business is different, just as every individual is different. So the approach we take with a business partner is going to be very catered to what the business needs, beginning at whatever level they're ready to begin at, and then starting that dialogue and discussion about how do we help you understand disability better, so that you have an understanding of what that might mean in the workplace, Or how do we help you recruit people with disabilities so that at least your jobs are getting out to a community of people with disabilities who have the skill set you're looking for?
Would a Game of Thrones obsession be considered a disability, or would that be?
No, because I have a Game of Thrones obsession.
Yeah, so do I.
So
I know we comment back and forth.
No, that's a very normal part of every day.
Just checking. So, well, give us an idea of some of the events that are down the road for this year, starting with September 13th.
Okay, September 13th, we have our a biannual workshop. It's called the Employer Workshop on Hiring and Retaining Individuals with Disabilities. We do this every September and every March, so there'll be another one next March if September doesn't work for you. But it's a half-day training for business partners, for HR managers, supervisors, people who come into contact with people with disabilities in the workforce, to learn more about disability. It really is kind of disability 101 for an employer or a supervisor. We go through accommodations across the board, so a variety of different accommodations that might be out there. We talk about our job fairs and how to post positions and how to partner with us. We talk about tax credits. We talk about different supports that are available to a business.
What do you mean by tax credits?
So there are specific tax credits that an individual with a disability might make your business eligible for. So if you hire somebody who is coming through vocational rehabilitation, your business is potentially eligible for a $2,400 tax credit. If you hire a disabled veteran, that tax credit can go up to $9,600 for a disabled veteran. So when we're looking at the population of people coming back from these recent kind of issues that we've had across the nation, or not the nation, but the country, the world, I guess, I'm sorry. But when you look at those people coming back and maybe they have brain injuries or maybe they've had some traumatic experiences, they may very well qualify as an individual with a disability, and your business might be eligible for that tax credit.
Wow.
There's also other supports out there if accommodations are necessary to potentially help pay for some of those accommodations that a person might need.
Okay, so if a location isn't, wheelchair accessible, there are credits and things available or funds available to help a business kind of offset that cost if they don't have it.
Yes, so we can,
I'm sure there's a lot more.
Yeah, it depends on the business, it depends on small, what size business you are, but there are a lot of different possibilities of how we can help a business make sure that they're as accessible as possible. Now, if you're in a historic building, sometimes those don't apply to you, but we definitely can talk to you about what that might look like.
So September 13th is the Employer Workshop. Where's it at?
It's at the Division of Services for the Blind and Visually Impaired, and we get a great opportunity when we're at that center to see their wood shop. They have a full functioning wood shop for individuals who are blind and visually impaired, and if you have questions about accommodations or safety for people with disabilities, it's a great way for you to kind of see that if a person has a skill and ability to do something, that we can typically figure out an accommodation.
So it's pretty cool. It's actually a wood shop, and there are people who are blind that are working, making things out of wood, and they will turn off the lights and saws are running. It's fascinating to go see that. I remember going to that and just, it was so amazing. Way cool. So September 13th, Employer Workshop at the Division of
Services for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Blind and Visually Impaired. What time does that start?
We typically start at 9 in the morning and we run till lunch. We have at the last workshop in March, we added 2 additional afternoon workshops on very specific topics, and we will be doing that in September. We haven't yet determined what those topics were, but in March it was mental health in the workplace and innovative accommodations. And if somebody wanted to stay from the morning and stay for the afternoon sessions, they could stay for one or the other or both. Or if they've been to our Employer Workshop before and wanted to come for those afternoon sessions, they could. A great point about this is that this is your tax dollars at work. So coming to this Employer Workshop is free of charge for business partners. We have no fee for our services. It's government at work.
It's there. Cool. Way cool. And then September 28th, big event that you do every year.
Yes.
Golden Key Awards.
Yes.
So if no one's ever heard of this before, which chances are most people haven't, what is the Golden Key Awards, and tell us about that.
So the Golden Key Awards are an annual award that's done through the Governor's Committee on Employment of People with Disabilities. So what these awards are for business partners, small, medium, and large business, for an ACE award, so an individual with a disability or one particular individual who's done a great deed or gone above and beyond to help a person with a disability in employment, And then also the Freedom Award, which is given to an employer who's gone above and beyond to hire and retain veterans, disabled veterans. And what it is, it's an opportunity for us to really highlight these businesses and show what great work they're doing to kind of come over the stereotypes of hiring and retaining people with disabilities, or making sure that their efforts are recognized. So we do have a commitment from the governor to be there for our event on September 28th, and it will be at the Zions Bank Founders Room. So Zions Bank is our hosting sponsor. We're also doing some coordination with Walmart right now to have some scholarships for transition age youth. So youth between the ages of, well, I guess we're looking at the senior age, so 18 to probably 22, who are students with disabilities and are looking at furthering their education, whether it be at a college level or occupational training of some sort, to help them in their future careers. So we're looking at getting that information out soon, but the event is a wonderful way for us to really highlight what's happening in the community.
And is this an event where anybody can buy tickets and come? Is it invite only? How does that work if somebody is hearing about this for the first time and saying, wow, I'd love to be a part of that? How would somebody participate in that?
So it is a small room. We have probably about 200 seats available. So of course it's first going to go to those who are winning the awards and the nominees, and then some dignitaries, and then we will have seats available. So if people are interested, they can reach out to me and I'll let them know when available seats come up, and we'll make sure that people who have expressed interest first get the opportunity to come to the event.
And a couple things. Number one is, how much is a seat? How much does it cost?
No charge.
No
Again,
charge, so it's free.
It's government at work.
Government at work. And then how would somebody contact you if they wanted to be a part of the Golden Key Awards?
The easiest way is probably by email.
Okay.
And my email is my full name, so LeahLobato at utah.gov.
Easy.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's Golden Key. And then October 4th, what's going on October 4th?
So October 4th is our biannual Workability Career Preparation and Job Fair, and this is a job fair targeted to individuals with disabilities. So whether you're working with vocational rehabilitation or you have a disability and don't need voc rehab services, but maybe you're just in the community and looking for a job, it's a great way to come and meet our People with Disability Network employer partners. So all of the partners there, the businesses who are attending, are our PWDNet partners, and they have a vested interest in hiring and retaining people with disabilities and have had education and support to do so. So at our job fair, we have accommodations for all individuals. We have interpreters for the deaf. We have people to help with mobility. There's a computer room available to do online applications the day of. With supports in that room if you have questions about what should my resume look like, or how do I get my information onto the Department of Workforce Services page, or how do I do this online application. We have people who can help during the time of the job fair.
So both on the employment side and the employer side, bridging the gap between the two.
It's an opportunity for our community of people with disabilities to meet with our People with Disability Network employer partners and really be able to highlight their skill set. We also provide workshops to our job seekers. So we have a workshop on understanding your benefits. So if you're questioning whether or not your Social Security is going to be affected by going to work, or how, am I going to lose my medical benefits? We have a workshop that day for that. Another workshop on how to have interviews and dress for success. And then a workshop on working in government professions. So the state has a program called Alternative State Application Program, where individuals with disabilities can potentially apply for positions non-competitively. And there's also a similar process through the federal government called Federal Schedule A, which is another way for individuals with disabilities to apply non-competitively for federal positions.
Wow.
So we do all kinds of workshops to make sure people are understanding the supports available to them as a job seeker, as a person with a disability, and then we provide this opportunity for our business partners to talk about their business and the jobs they have available.
Wow. Fire hose.
Yeah,
so
I
many
know.
things going on. So with so many things going on and trying to connect employers and people out there that may have a disability that need, employment, what's the biggest challenge in all that that you face? Is it?
I think that we have a continued challenge of making sure that businesses feel like they have the resources they need. I've heard many times that when I talk to a business partner, I wish I would have known about your services and support 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I think that people don't realize that there's a support for businesses, not just in Utah, but around the country, through vocational rehabilitation and business relation people who work for vocational rehabilitation across the country. So if there's a business that has a footprint outside of Utah, I can help them get connected with somebody similar to me in another state.
So this isn't just a Utah,
It
it's state, it's nationwide.
Mhm.
There's not quite, but there is a Leah Lobato type person in
Yes,
every state.
there is.
And you can help connect with
Yes.
that. That's so cool. Great. And let's look at, so that's this year, September 13th, employer workshops, September 28th, Golden Key
Mhm.
Awards, October 4th, Workability Fair, where employers are there
Mhm.
ready to start interviewing and hiring
Yes.
and things like that. And then what about, 2017? What's kind of down the road for 2017?
So we're always and consistently looking for business partners who might be interested in hosting a transition mentoring event. And what that is, it's an event for a youth age 14 to 22 years old, where we host it typically at a business office or location. And we get an opportunity for those students to tour and get a feel for what that business is. I don't know about you, but when I was 15, 16 years old, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Or I had a perception, but I didn't really know what that job entailed. So by doing these transition mentoring events, we're opening up opportunities for youth to come into a business and see what your office looks like and what's your company culture and what kind of jobs do you do here and what might I be doing if I work for Mass Mutual or if I work for Associated Foods or if I work for Intermountain Healthcare, who hosted this year. Henry Schein also hosted this year, so they got to see dental solutions in process.
So you do multiple
Uh-huh.
just throughout the years? Are certain once a quarter, once a month?
So we have been trying to coordinate our events between January to early April, and that's kind of because it works well for the schools.
Okay.
We're looking at not running into holidays, and then there's testing at the end of the year. So if we kind of shoot for that January to April range, and what we look for is a business that can host it anywhere from a small group of students up to 50 to 60 students. It just really depends on the business. Goldman Sachs hosted a great event this year and had probably about 40 students come in, and it really is catered to the business. What would you like the community of people with disabilities and youth to see, and how can we show them what your company does? It's usually a 9 to a lunchtime event, and it's just a great way for you to kind of look at the pipeline of individuals that might be coming up and looking at employment in the near future, and a way for you to highlight your business and what you do.
Wow. So those are all done for this year.
Yes.
But 2017, those will be. And how do parents? Is that done through the school districts? How would a parent, find out about this program and get their child involved?
So I'm happy to have parents contact me directly if they'd
Okay.
like, but we do get information out through the schools to any educator who works with students who are on an IEP, so an individual education plan, or a 504 plan. So if a student has a documented disability where they're receiving those supports, that's the group of students we're inviting to these events.
Okay.
So schools will get that information and teachers will be sharing that information. We do ask for a small application form to be filled out, so we know about accommodation needs, and we know kind of some information about the students, and some release forms so we can take some photos and stuff like that and make sure that we can put it on social media. But it's fairly easy for a student to be involved, and most of the time it's a school event, so the school will kind of help us coordinate how to travel to those events. We'd like to try to do one Ogden area, Salt Lake area, and the Provo area again, but we're always open to even rural areas. If somebody really wants to host one, I'd love to do one in Moab or in
Cool.
Blanding, even if we had the opportunity.
Cool, great, that's awesome. So off topic, but very serious. I didn't get, and back to Game of Thrones, when the flashback of Brant flashing back to
The Three-Eyed Raven.
the Three-Eyed Raven. Let's help me understand, if you know, because I don't know. When it's Jon Snow is born as the baby, it's Ed Stark, but who's the girl and where was that connection? Do you know that? Because I
That's
don't know
his
that.
sister.
So his sister.
Yes, Lyanna
Okay.
Stark.
Lyanna. So Ed
And she was supposedly betrothed to Baratheon.
Baratheon.
And either she left willingly with Rhaegar Targaryen, or he took her. I don't know that part yet. And that's a Targaryen child. Jon Stark is a Targaryen.
Is a Targaryen. Okay. Like, okay,
Yeah.
wow. So I did not put that together.
Well,
Thank
now
you.
you know.
Now I know. Cool. Well, thank you for tuning in, and we appreciate Leah you coming on today and telling us about everything and talking a little bit of Game of Thrones and
Hey,
having
always.
a little bit of fun. And thanks.
Thank you for the opportunity. I know I gave a fire hose of information,
it's
like
great.
you said. I'm always happy for people to contact me through my email or even give me a call on my office number, 801-887-9538, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if it's pertaining to disability and employment or serving disabled customers. I am happy
You're there.
to give you the information I have.
Great. And it's Leah Lobato at utah.gov.
.gov.
Great.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.